Hi there, I wanted to show you our new Peaceful View stamp and just a really fun way to use it. So I'm going to start with some basic white cardstock. I've got my blending brushes here. These are the small ones. I've got Pumpkin Pie, Gorgeous Grape, Daffodil Delight, Azure Afternoon, and Secret Sea. And I'm going to start with Daffodil. These are really easy to use, these blending brushes. It's kind of like putting makeup on. I'm just going to rub this on my ink pad. And then I'm going to start on my mat and rub onto my cardstock. You could do back and forth, you could do circular, whatever's comfortable. Picking up some more ink, coming in over here. Okay, so there's my first color. And I think for the top, I'm going to use Azure Afternoon. Okay, I'm going to go to the other side, start off my cardstock. I'm not too worried about these because my stamp is very busy and dark, so it's going to cover that up. The main idea is I just want to get some color onto this piece of cardstock. So I've got two sections there, and then I'm going to add in some Pumpkin Pie. Now you'll notice I'm using a different blending brush for each color because I don't want to mix the colors on my ink pad. I want to keep my ink pad clean. So I'm just going to come across the middle with Pumpkin Pie. Just like this. So I've got three colors here. Alrighty, and then let me set these aside. And you could do any colors. I could throw in some pink or some red. I'm gonna move these out of my way before I set my arm on them. Okay, now, if you were lucky enough to purchase a Stamparatus when we sold them, this is my favorite way of using a background stamp, which this stamp is. It's one big stamp. So I'm going to show you with the Stamparatus, and then I'm going to show you if you don't have the Stamparatus, okay? So I'm just going to lay this down. I'm not attaching it at all. I'm not using any adhesive. I'm just laying it down. And then I'm going to take my Memento black pad and add some ink here. And you want to make sure you have really good coverage because this stamp, you want it to cover up the colors that we've added to our cardstock. So I'm going to use my brayer to just kind of even this out across the stamp just to make sure I've got nice even coverage. That should do it. And then with the Stamparatus, it's a stamp positioner. So it makes it really easy to do a background stamp. Sometimes it's hard to get a good impression, but with the Stamparatus, it makes it really, really easy. And then I was having some trouble with this area right here, so I'm just going to give that an extra little rub just to make sure I got it. And I'm just going to lift this off. And this is what you have. Isn't that gorgeous? So let me set that aside. I'm going to take this off and add this to a block because I want you to see, if you don't have the Stamparatus, I want you to see how you can use this stamp. And I had a block here. I don't know where it went. Typical. Oh, here it is. Okay, so got inky thumbs now. I'll just lay this down and add this block to the back. Okay. And I'm just going to lay this face up on my surface. And that's how I'm going to use it. I'm not going to try to pick it up and stamp it. I'm just going to use it. I'm going to add my paper to the stamp. So let's do another color combination. Let's start with Pumpkin Pie on this one. And we're going to do most of the middle. So I want to start on my mat and just come onto the cardstock. Now, if you don't like inky fingers, this might not be the right project for you, but ink does wash off. If it doesn't wash off at the sink, it will wash off when you shampoo your hair. So, all right, now I've got Gorgeous Scrape. I might have said Concord Crush at the beginning of the video. I meant Gorgeous Scrape. We're just gonna add this to the top. And I want this to be just a little bit darker, so I'm gonna go in a little heavier with this one. Okay, you can see I'm using a circular motion. I kind of like the way that looks in the end. It kind of gives it almost a stormy, cloudy look. And then we're just gonna add some Daffodil Delight here. Just down at the bottom, just filling in all the white, and I'm blending, overlapping or blending the colors. Okay, so now we've got a second piece, and I'll show you what to do if you don't have a Stamparatus. Okay, I'm going to use the brayer again because I want to make sure I don't have any strange lines from the ink pad and that I haven't missed any of the areas. You can use this technique with any background stamp, any large stamp that's hard to pick up, and then get a good impression on your paper. Okay. All right. All right, so I'm just gonna go back and forth just to kind of move that ink around. And I have a piece of copy paper here that I'm gonna fold in half. I can get a hold of it. So I'm just going to fold this in half lengthways. Then I'm going to take my piece of cardstock and I'm going to lay it face down onto my stamp. Some background stamps are just a pattern, so they don't have to be straight. This one, you kind of want it to be straight. Now notice this copy paper covers everything, so I'm not going to get inky when I do this, but I'm just rubbing over everywhere the stamp surface is. And there's one little area right here that's just rubber, and I keep catching ink there, so I might just take my craft scissors and cut that piece of rubber off, just because that will prevent me from picking up ink. So you can see the extra ink ended up there. And then I'm just going to get a hold of this. Yeah, see, I caught a little bit of ink there. I might trim that out with my scissors. But okay, here's the second one. So we have the Stamparatus, and we have just using the block. And this is such a relaxing part of crafting. It's just picking out my colors, adding the colors. So here's the two we just did. I'm gonna move this because I feel like it's distracting. So here's the two we just did. This doesn't matter, Stamparatus, stamp positioner, just using the stamp, you know, face up on the table. Here's some others that I played around and got, different color combinations, mostly just these 5 colors that I showed you at the beginning. Here's just Gorgeous Scrape and Azure Afternoon. Did a couple of those. Again, I love this purple, orange, yellow combination. And then here's one where it's just kind of lighter. I didn't add as much color. And then here's another one. So you can kind of play around. What I did is I went on Google and I searched sunset, and then I clicked on images. And so that helped me get an idea of what order to put the colors in and what colors would look good together. So I just cut some paper and then just laid that color down with the blending brushes and then stamped them all. So just really, really easy, really fun, a little messy, but here's some finished cards that I made. So this card is made out of azure, and so that is bringing out the color up in the top of the sky. Excuse me. Gorgeous Scrape. and then pumpkin pie. So I hope you like this project. The name of the stamp is Peaceful View, and it's available now in my store. So check it out.